The laws of suggestion. Bowden discusses 4 laws of suggestion. 1. The law of concentrated attention. The idea which tends to realize itself is an idea on which spontaneous attention is concentrated. 2. Law of auxiliary emotion. When an idea is enveloped in a powerful emotion, there is more likelihood that this idea will be suggestively realized. 3. The law of reversed effort. When an idea imposes itself on the mind to such an extent as to give rise to a suggestion, all the conscious efforts which the subject makes in order to counteract this suggestion are not merely without the desired effect, but they actually run counter to the subject's conscious wishes and tend to intensify the suggestion. 4. Law of subconscious teleology. When the end has been suggested, the subconscious find means for its realization. And that's in Charles Bowden, Suggestion and Autosuggestion. Now, let us discuss these laws in more detail. Number 1. The law of concentrated attention. The idea which tends to realize itself is an idea on which spontaneous attention is concentrated. An idea that arises out of the unconscious mind or has previously settled deeply into the unconscious will exert a stronger influence than an idea which you are consciously trying to manifest. For example, John has a goal to have a business which he can run from anywhere in the world. Even though he has a detailed action plan, he has yet to attain the goal after 10 years of hard work. Feeling despondent, he lets go the idea and resigns himself to his current lifestyle. Half an hour later, while cleaning out the garage, a solution spontaneously arises in the mind. Strangely enough, he already knew what to do, but it was not until the thought spontaneously arose in the mind did he get the conviction. Yes, I can do that. Now I know what to do. Now I can achieve my goal. The neurosemantic metacoaching model aims to facilitate that same process self-discovery, not by telling the client what to do, but by asking questions that encourage the client to access and mobilize both their inner and outer resources towards achieving a desired outcome. 2. Law of auxiliary emotion. When an idea is enveloped in a powerful emotion, there is more likelihood that this idea will be suggestively realized. Those people who are passionate about what they will do tend to achieve higher levels of success than those who are not. Hitler's rise to power was not due to any sensible policies, but was fueled by fear and anger that arose out of a hardwired survival instinct during the period of an economic depression. Likewise, faith healers rely upon the prestige that the patient brings to the situation. One does not choose just any faith healer. There has to be some underlying mechanism that prompts the patient to grasp the idea that this person and only this person can heal me. Earlier we discussed the effect of belief and placebo. Unless one receives a treatment in which one believes, and from whom we have given prestige to, then it is unlikely that the best results will be attained. This being an intuitive understanding for most of us, we find that it is not uncommon for one to travel to the other side of town to see a recommended practitioner, and the longer the waiting list, the more we expect a positive outcome. Some practitioners may utilize this response potential by acting as if their diary is full. After some tense deliberation, the practitioner announces that they can slot the client in. The client takes a sigh of relief and in some way feels special. 3. The law of reversed effort. When an idea imposes itself on the mind to such an extent as to give rise to a suggestion, all the conscious efforts which the subject makes in order to counteract this suggestion are not merely without the desired effect, but they actually run counter to the subject's conscious wishes and tend to intensify the suggestion. For example, a thought arises in the mind of the smoker for a cigarette. If he fights with the thought, it only serves to intensify the desire for the cigarette. The answer is to bring awareness to the first thought that arose in the mind. For example, I feel like a cigarette. One then engages the unconscious mind to slow the thought down, to change the tonality, and to turn the volume all the way down. This is a fancy way of communicating to the unconscious mind. No, not this thought. One can then directionalize the unconscious mind to access a resource state such that the environmental trigger no longer triggers the thought of smoking, but triggers the resource state. In some cases, it can feel like being in two minds. One part represents the conscious mind, while the other part represents the unconscious mind. The conscious part is like that of a sensible adult, while the unconscious mind part is like that of a 2-year-old child. The 2-year-old knows nothing of future consequences and only wants gratification in the present moment. When the will and the imagination are at war, the imagination invariably gains the day. It's Bowden on page 125. The law of reversed effort exerts itself where effort of will is the leading factor. Hence, those who try the hardest often fail. State hypnotists employ the law of reversed effort to great effect. For example, the hypnotist suggests to a seated subject that he should try hard to stand up. Try hard. Try really hard. The subject looks puzzled as he discovers that he can't move. Try harder, demands the hypnotist. The harder the subject tries to stand, the more he is convinced that he cannot. Only once he relaxes does he realize that in fact he can. Emile Coué recommends that the will must not intervene in the practice of autosuggestion, and that the treatment of some behavioral problems is not so much about a re-education of the will, but a re-education of the imagination. So in the treatment of smoking, alcohol and drug abuse, it is common knowledge that education does not effect a change. In fact, it is quite possible that the health warnings could in fact lead to health problems, if accepted by the unconscious mind. So how do you re-educate the imagination? We start with awareness. Awareness is the key. The witnessing type meditations and NLP, neurosemantics, all use a similar process in which one learns to bring awareness to the mind. One then learns to act consciously rather than unconsciously. 4. The law of subconscious teleology. When the end has been suggested, the subconscious finds means for its realization. In some cases, this may be true. One does not necessarily have to understand the etiology of a disease in order to facilitate a healing. In some cases, all one need do is create a lifestyle which supports the health of the body. On the New York Times website, we find an article edited by Dean Robinson from the work of Dan Buettner entitled, "The Island Where People Forget to Die." It begins with the story of a Greek war veteran named Stamatis Moraitis, who moved to the USA in 1943. In 1976, in his mid-60s, Moraitis was diagnosed with lung cancer and was given 9 months to live. Rather than die in the USA, he decided to move back to his birthplace in the island of Ikaria. Within months, he regained his health and is still going strong 35 years later at 97 years of age. In a similar case, an American man dying from AIDS moved to northern India, but within weeks he had regained his health. Cases like this make one wonder. the person has accepted that they are going to die, and a decision is made to make a massive change in their lifestyle. Who knows if the thought spontaneously arose out of the unconscious mind, or if it was as a result of conscious deliberation. In the aforementioned cases, both men demonstrate a profound level of trust. They don't fight with their illness, they go with the flow and allow their life energy to lead them to a healing. When the end has been suggested, the subconscious finds means for its realization. This law was popularized in the film The Secret. The theory is that all you need to do is to visualize your goal and it will magically come into reality. For those people who have massive meaning associated with their outcome, just keeping the outcome in mind will motivate them to do whatever is necessary in order to achieve the outcome. But for others, a more systematic coaching methodology is required. Willpower versus imagination. A biofeedback device provides an opportunity to experience the difference between willpower and imagination. Let's say the task is to increase your body temperature. The screen displays a temperature of 90.2 Fahrenheit. Using willpower, you can try all you like to increase the temperature, but nothing happens. The effort just makes you tense, so you give up and relax. Within a minute, the temperature increases by 0.1 Fahrenheit. You close your eyes and forget about the whole stupid idea. When you open your eyes, the temperature has increased by 0.2 of a degree. Then you imagine that you are sitting in front of a wood fire. The next time that you open your eyes, there has been another increase in temperature. Making direct suggestions to the body is easy. Just say, relax. And as you relax, even deeper, let a feeling of warmth increase. And as the body gets warmer, notice that the relaxation deepens. And as the relaxation deepens, the body gets even warmer. In the spiritual traditions of Buddhism and Jainism, we find examples of will and relaxation. Will is to effort as relaxation is to imagination. Will is to the conscious mind as relaxation is to harnessing the unconscious mind. Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, and Mahavira, the founder of Jainism, were contemporaries, and they were both from the warrior caste. Both tried the path of will to attain to enlightenment. Mahavira attained after 12 years of effort. Buddha, on the other hand, gave up the use of effort after 6 years, though some records say 12 years. There are two stories about Buddha's enlightenment. One is the path of will. For 6 years, it is said that he worked hard to attain to enlightenment, but he was not total. When he sat under the Bodhi tree in total exhaustion, he declared with utter determination that he would sit there or die. The second story is the path of surrender, that after 6 years, Buddha came to realize that all effort is meaningless. Truth cannot be attained by effort. When he understood this and relaxed, then enlightenment occurred. Buddha teaches the middle way, using both effort and relaxation, both effort and imagination. When one does not even use imagination, then one just surrenders. Surrender is the path of Lao Tzu, founder of Taoism. Buddha's method is halfway between that of Mahavira and Lao Tzu. More people have attained to enlightenment through Buddha's method than any other spiritual practice. Meditation and prayer. Willpower involves conscious effort, while imagination employs the aid of the unconscious mind. Willpower is analogous to the left brain, while imagination is analogous to the right brain. They are like the wings of an aeroplane, and as they say, it takes two wings to fly. Hypnotism is the process of communicating with the unconscious mind. Hypnosis is a state of consciousness. The term hypnosis and hypnotism have become interchangeable in common usage. Meditation is a state of consciousness in which the mind is devoid of content. Meditation techniques are used to explore consciousness. In deep meditation, the body is immobile, the mind is silent, and one experiences a state of bliss. In deep trance, the experience is nearly identical. The only thing that differs is the frame that one brings to the experience. One may occur in a hypnotherapist's office, the other in a temple. The context determines the meaning. There are some hundreds of meditation exercises, some of which involve concentration and some which do not. Those which involve concentration are not so much meditation techniques as a preparation for meditation. One starts with effort and ends with effortlessness. For example, in Osho Kundalini meditation, the meditator begins by allowing the body to gently shake. In the second stage, they dance. The third stage, they sit absolutely still and remain a witness. In the last stage, they lay down and let go. In the first two stages, the body has an opportunity to express itself through movement, so that by the time it comes to sit in meditation, it feels quite natural to relax both body and mind. Hypnotists sometimes use concentration on an object as a means to induce trance. For example, they might have the subject focus their eyes on a watch held just above eye level, thereby causing fatigue and a desire to close the eyes. At other times, the hypnotist might position themselves on a stage surrounded by bright lights, forcing the audience to look upwards and into a bright light. This technique to induce trance, whether intentional or not, is not just confined to stage hypnotists, but is also used by politicians and performers. We see the same method in the field of meditation, where the meditator gazes at a candle flame, or sits opposite another meditator and stares at a point between the eyebrows. Eyes open or closed, the same method may be used. In the third eye meditation, the meditator closes the eyes and focuses in on a point between the eyebrows. What is the purpose of meditation? For some, it is a method to relax. For others, it is a way to master the mind. For others, it is an exploration of consciousness in search of the ultimate truth, while for others, it is a means to alter their state of consciousness. All religious traditions, including ethnic groups, have used prolonged periods of fasting, dancing, chanting, prayer, solitude or darkness, and in some cases mind-altering drugs as a means to alter their state of consciousness and promote a spiritual experience. In some cultures, ritualized wailing is used on the death of a beloved to express grief and release suppressed emotions. But perhaps only recently has crying been used as a formal meditation technique. In Osho Mystic Rose meditation, the meditator spends periods of time laughing, crying, and sitting in meditation. Prayer is much less like meditation and more like hypnotism. In prayer, one attempts to communicate with, give thanks to, or petition a higher power, whether that be a saint, a deity, or God. As with meditation and hypnosis, one brings to prayer an intention, an expectation, and a belief in the process. In fervent prayer, a profound altered state of consciousness may develop. One can pray for another, for oneself, or for something material or spiritual. However, one is more likely to achieve a result if one prays for a physical or emotional healing for oneself. Prayer for another can achieve results, but the state of mind of the recipient in some cases is an important factor, as Ku demonstrated in that he was able to effect the distant healing of a subject by having the subject make himself ready to receive the blessing at an appointed time. At times, prayer can achieve miracles. By exploring a range of spiritual techniques, one discovers that techniques are just tools to help us recognize something that has always existed within us, a silent pool of consciousness. One learns that techniques help us to experience the formless. It is like we need to get hot to appreciate coolness. We need to make sound in order to hear silence. We need to experience tension in order to understand relaxation. We need to concentrate in order to understand the experience of let go. Eventually one realizes the techniques have served their purpose. Now one just chops wood and carries water. One becomes the walking, becomes the dancing. There is no longer a doer. There is no longer anyone who is experiencing. There is just experiencing.